Guys, we're back for another exciting episode of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play, and I have to apologize. I've been gone for a few weeks, and I'm going to blame Hurricane Irma on that. I was in Europe for a week. I come back. I spend one night at home and then evacuate a hurricane for a week and a half. So I'm sorry that we haven't had an episode in a while, but tonight's episode is going to be fun. And just a quick note to Hurricane Irma. So we were planning to go to Marietta, Georgia, which is north of Atlanta. Got into a car accident on the way and got to a sign that said Macon. And I was like, oh, cool. Brandon Stooksbury lives in Macon. He's been on this show a couple of times. He's a good friend of mine. And I was like, hey, it's midnight. You awake? And sure enough, he was. 3 hours later, he opened his doors to us and let us stay with him for a few nights. So, Brandon, thank you. I wrote a blog post about it on rickyleepots.com if you want to check that out. Just kind of recapping Brandon and thanking him and his family for literally just opening their doors at 3:30 in the morning to let us crash with them. So he keeps saying that's what friends are for, but I felt terrible about it. So hopefully he knows how much grateful we are for him allowing us to do that. But we're back for another episode. I'm actually doing 2 episodes this evening, but tonight we're going to start with a club company that I, about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, didn't know much about. But when my club fitter said, hey, I'm going to put you in some new clubs, and they're going to be from Alpha Golf. And I said, Alpha Golf, that sounds cool. And I remember him saying, almost quoting, have you heard of PXG before PXG was PXG? And I said, good point. And he said, Alpha Golf is that way. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. But we have Carol Suh with us from Alpha Golf, and I'm just going to let her talk about the company because I know a little bit about it. They do a lot of stuff from grips, shafts, club heads, all the way from driver down. But let's just welcome her to the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play. Carol, tell us a little bit about Alpha Golf and welcome.
Hey, Ricky. Thanks so much for having me. Hi to all your viewers here. Alpha Golf is a family company. It was actually started by my dad, and I currently am on board as the marketing director for both the brand as well as the parent company called Kent Sports. So Kent Sports does like a whole bunch of stuff, mostly related to golf, but we are a full-line distributor for maybe, 40 top brands of grips and shafts and accessories and wearables. And Alpha Golf was kind of where it started. So my dad was a physicist back when I was a kid, and he had some friends that asked him to help design some golf clubs, and he was like, sure, that's a piece of cake for me. And that's kind of how he got started. And he's been in the business for about 27 years now. I'm how old? And I've been working also in this business for about 10 years.
That's awesome. Well, I'm a marketing director myself, so we've got that in common. So it's all about marketing and driving. For me, driving rounds and revenue, and for you, it's driving shafts and club heads. So that's really cool. And I didn't know there was a parent company to it as well. And that's cool that he's been doing it for so long. And there are so many manufacturers out there. I mean, obviously the OEMs like Callaway and TaylorMade and Ping and Titleist, but those companies, I almost look at some of those companies as marketing companies that just happen to sell golf clubs. And Alpha Golf doesn't seem to be that. It seems to be a company that is focused on the club fitting aspect. And we'll talk about my club fitter, who I think you might know who he is here in a few minutes. But I'm curious, whenever this company kind of got started and just the foundation of it, and over the years, it looks to be a massive company. How many employees do you guys have?
We have around, let's see, right now we're at 14, I think, employees on staff. Some of us are remote, and then we do work with a lot of factories in China and Hong Kong. Bit of a delay.
It's okay. It's either it might be my connection, because again, there was a hurricane that drove right over our house about a couple of weeks ago. So, okay, so the clubs. Now, I thought that you were going to say it was a much bigger company, so I'm a little surprised that it's that small for as big as it seems that you guys are, and the quality of the clubs that you're producing. But where do people buy these clubs? Like, can I just go to the store and hit them and pick them up at Dick's Sporting Goods, or like, what's the club buying process like?
Definitely. Well, we consider ourselves a custom club brand. We really focus on the custom experience that you can get with club fitters, like your club fitter that you work with. And it's really important for us because we know how hard the game is, and we know how expensive it can be. So we feel like when players are looking for their next sub clubs, or how to upgrade their equipment, that they really go to an expert, and that is your club fitter. So our clubs are only sold through club fitters. We don't sell them in big box stores because we don't believe that one size fits all. We want to make sure that you're going to get that experience of knowing exactly how you're swinging, how the equipment's going to enhance your performance, and how the entire process works. I think more education, more information definitely helps the golfer.
That's awesome. And quite frankly, I would rather it be that way. Like, I mean, I can't imagine the number of people that just go to the sporting goods store and buy a driver and go think that they're going to be able to hit it. Like, you have no idea what it's for, the shafts in it, the loft, all that stuff needs to go through a club fitter, and that's what club fitters are there for. So now the hashtag Wednesday Match Play is presented by Eat Sleep Golf, and I'm glad that they were able to submit some questions tonight, because I thought they might have thought that I was just done with the show because I've been gone for so long. But the team from Eat Sleep Golf sent in a bunch of good questions, and one that is just screaming off the top of my head, and one that they asked is, do you work with any tour players? I mean, surely you've got some tour players, because the clubs just look, and obviously because of the club fitter aspect, have to be playing incredible. I'll find out soon enough myself, but do you have any tour players on staff?
We do. We don't sponsor any players. That's just never something that we wanted to kind of focus on with our marketing. I can talk a little bit more about our marketing focus in a little bit, but we do have players on the Champions Tour, on the National Tour, as well as the PGA Tour, LPGA, that do play our clubs. I'm not authorized to say who they are, but you will see our clubs in the bag, and the players that do play our clubs absolutely love them. Like, they're just huge fans of ours.
That's not fair, because I wanted to be able to know. Tell me offline later. Now, my club fitter, we mentioned him before we went online. I asked you about him, but do you know Doc Griffin? I mean, come on, the guy is kind of a legend, right?
Legend is like an understatement for us. He's just a wonderful club fitter. He definitely knows his business. He's probably one of the best club fitters that we have on our team, and he's also a really great family friend of ours. He gives it to you straight. He is like no nonsense about your game and everything that you need to do and the right equipment that you need. I think he gets the job done.
I think he will enjoy hearing that. I'll make sure that he sees this. He might be watching right now. So if you are watching, Doc, just don't get your head too big there. Like, all right, I'll keep it calm.
He knows we love him. So.
That's awesome. So tell me more about the Silver Diamond collection. What is that all about?
So the Silver Diamond collection actually came before the Alpha Golf brand. It was kind of the first branded equipment line that my dad started. And he was doing lots of designs that his customers were asking about. They wanted some deep cavity backs. They wanted some easy to hit forged irons. And so he just kind of dove into it. And then when he realized that, as you get into the manufacturing process, you kind of learn about different materials and sort of the processes and everything. He knew that there was kind of this need for a premium line. And so he started the Alpha line based off of the launching point of Silver Diamond.
That's really cool. I like the branding across the board. I mean, just the naming and the look of the clubs. And I encourage everyone to visit their website, which will be in the link below in the description. And it just the entire brand, and I'm sure you're responsible for a lot of that, is very consistent. And that leads me to my next question, because Doc had compared it to PXG, and it does compare to PXG in terms of just, it might not be the right word for it, but they feel and look expensive and just top of the line, and that you would expect guys on tour to be playing them, and just that vibe that they are an expensive line of clubs. And I'm not sure if they're expensive. I haven't seen the price points for these. But do you ever get compared to PXG, and do you consider yourselves as good or better than PXG? Kind of, what's that comparison between those two club manufacturers?
That's a good question. I don't have too much experience myself with the PXG line, but we do get compared to other premium lines a lot, like Mayura and just some of the Japanese brands. I mean, we do take a lot of focus on as like there's no like gimmicks around our equipment. Sometimes people think of golf as a black box. That certainly happens a lot with shafts, I think. But with heads and stuff too, we actually try to make them as simple as possible, because sometimes simple is more effective. So where a lot of OEM clubs went into directions of, adding a few little bells and whistles and making it look really technically complex, we knew that the engine of the club is actually quite simple. And it's just a matter of transferring as much energy as you can from your swing and making sure that the equipment is in line with how your body works. So our focus in marketing has also been, instead of trying to promote the equipment so much, is to actually support and promote our club fitters, because we believe they're actually doing the hard job. Equipment as it stands, there hasn't been too much technology kind of churn in how like drivers are made and irons. It's still roughly the same materials, very similar designs. There's a few tweaks in here and there with materials and stuff and how they're placed and welded together. But it's really the club fitter that's been innovating and been able to take this sport, I think, to the next level. So that's how our focus has always been, is to support that club fitter, make sure they have everything they need, make sure they have the information they need to test all their equipment, and have the right offerings for all different types of players.
That's awesome, and that is also a good segue into my next question. But you were talking about the OEMs, and there's a certain OEM that just released a new driver, not PXG. They're a little bit more expensive, but it's $700 for a driver. And I'm thinking, okay, that's absurd that that club costs that much. Like, I can't imagine putting that. And I remember seeing clubs, that come out for $500, and then a month later they're $350, and then a month after that they're $1.99. It's like they just go down the line, right? And I'm curious, kind of to your point about the technology doesn't change that much, but every couple of months there's a new technology, and this driver is better than any driver you've ever hit before. Like, they can't be doing that much difference in terms of the technology. Like, it is what it is, and there are rules and regulations that are in place for that. But I'm curious the price point. So what's it cost for, say, a driver or a putter, or does it depend on what's fit and what shafts you use? Kind of what's the pricing model for Alpha Golf?
Mm-hmm. So our pricing has been very, very consistent for as long as I can remember, for like a decade or so. The head itself, usually the MAP retail price is around $200, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more. So the shaft comes into play a lot when you look at the overall cost. Shafts can vary quite a bit. And again, we've seen this where shafts are definitely a black box in terms of what materials and technologies they're using. But that is probably the main kind of source of where that cost lies. I want to talk a bit of point about the club head, though, because we've been in the business for so long. Maybe you've heard this or not. There's just a few factories in the world that make 99.8% of all club heads. It's less than the number of fingers on my hand.
Wow, so, I had no idea.
Yeah, and it's a small world, basically. And so we're really quite privy to what all the next season, what all the other competitors are doing, because we have contacts with every factory, every foundry. We see the designs before they get released. So if somebody really wanted to copy something, they could, but it really is. It's not as technologically advanced as the price tag might suggest.
No kidding. I had no idea. I'm going to look more into that because that really intrigues me. Now, marketing director, you've obviously got a marketing background. So Eat Sleep Golf wants to know, what's kind of the marketing approach for growing brand awareness? The brand itself is fantastic, and the overall model of what's been built is incredible. But what's the strategy from your side in terms of just overall brand awareness?
Mm-hmm. So we decided not to go direct to consumer with our clubs like some brands do. We, again, wanted to focus on that relationship with the club fitter. So that's really been the focus for the last 10 years, is making sure that the club fitters have what they need. They have as much technical information as they can get and that they can convey to their players. We try to make everything accessible with our online portal. Dealers and our club fitters, they log in, they get a ton of information about the equipment that they're purchasing and what they're stocking up on. So that's really been the focus. We do use Facebook a lot. All of our dealers are very into just communicating closely with us and keeping up to date on all of our equipment updates.
You're not on Twitter. We'll talk about that later in the back nine. We're going to talk about that. I'm not, as a Twitter just ridiculous super user, power user, whatever you want to call me, I'm obsessed with that network. When I'm typing in, there is a Carol Suh out there that uses Twitter, but it's not you. So we're going to have to get you an account created before too long. So how do you differentiate your brand from the other manufacturers? There's 1,000 different manufacturers that have the best thing for everybody's swing and that has the right clubs for you. How do you differentiate between all those different manufacturers?
Well, a lot of manufacturers tend to release like new equipment every season or every other season. That's always been against what we believe. We wanted to reach obviously a certain performance point for different types of players. So, for instance, we have our average player, our professional player. We have players that are just beginning, and we believe that even they need like really superior equipment to kind of learn the sport and get their hands on it. So for instance, one of our drivers, the C830.2, I'm not sure what you got fit with, but that's still one of our best selling drivers, is because it's actually the most easiest to hit. It's super forgiving. We maxed out the COR, of course, but not a lot has changed with that driver. And it's because we believe that performance happens when you are fit correctly with the right shaft and you have the right tools from your club fitter to really enhance your swing.
So I haven't been fit yet. He was supposed to be here last week.
Okay.
He didn't come last week. So again, another good segue. What can I expect from my club fit? I mean, obviously his club fitting is going to be different than the guy next to him, the guy next to him. But from an Alpha Golf's perspective, what's the club fitting process kind of look like? And what should I expect in terms of the things that he's going to be looking for? And I'm a pretty decent player. I have a single-digit handicap. So based on what you know about Alpha Golf and what little I know to this point about Alpha Golf, what do you think that process is going to look like for me? And from start to finish, what do you think he's going to put me into?
Well, it's been a while since I've seen Doc, and he gets a lot of his players actually contact us and tell us what a great job he did and how wonderful it was to work with him. I know that he has obviously a lot of technical equipment that he's going to use and watch your swing, and he's going to analyze. I would say that it's going to be like a large part of that process. The frequency of the shaft and how it matches up with your tempo is probably going to take up, a good part of that. And it'll be interesting to see what he ends up fitting you with.
Me too, because I have no idea. Like, I'm literally playing JPX Mizuno irons that I got like 8 years ago. So I'm kind of excited for, the change. Like, and what I'm not looking forward to is just I told him, I was like, I'm not doing the putter. Like, there is no way I'm getting rid of the putter. Like, that's my go-to club, if nothing else. So. Do what?
What kind of putter do you have?
I was 16 years old, and I bought an Odyssey 2-ball, and I was so mad that it was $100, and I was like, "There's no way I'm paying $100 for a club." And I've put 20 other putters in my hands, and nothing compares. And I'm a good putter, so I can't get rid of that. I'm not great, I'm not long off the tee. I guess I hit the ball pretty straight, but I'm not long off the tee. So hopefully he can find a shaft or a club head that makes me feel like I can hit it. Because we play the tips on Thursday nights after work, and at a club that hosts PGA and LPGA Tour events, that's like hitting driver 5-iron into par 4s for me. So not really, but kind of on some holes. So I'm a little excited to have some new clubs in my bag. That's for sure.
On that note, Doc's definitely going to look at your grip as well, and that's actually a part of the equipment that we found is really, really important in this club fitting process. Is people kind of overlook the grip, but in the past few years, I feel like a lot of people have been educated on the importance of the grip and how many.
Interesting. Well, there's a million things to consider, right? And I'm hoping that based on what you're saying, Doc knows what he's doing. I mean, he is a master teaching professional and a master club fitter, so the guy's obviously got something. And he, in the interviews, he's been on the show before, and the way that he talks about how he combines both, that he takes the club fitting and the teaching side and blends them, I think that I can look forward to a really good session with him, regardless of what he puts me into. So other than clubs, what else? I mean, you got accessories, but like, what else is Alpha Golf selling?
So Kent Sports, the parent company, is a distributor. It's a full-line distributor for all the top brands of shafts and grips and lots of wearables now. We found like even the golf sock, the sock that you're wearing can actually make a big difference when you're swinging the driver. You don't want any twisting to happen. Too much moisture is going to cause you blisters when you're walking down the fairway. So even things like that, we just found that, all these components added together, can really make the experience a whole lot better for golfers. And our club fitters agree. So we started carrying, we started carrying grips maybe about 7 years ago. We became a full-line distributor for, Golf Pride, Lamkin, Win, all the big grip companies. And then some of the other smaller ones too, like Jumbo Max, Iomic, really great, interesting technology. We're still working on kind of unraveling that black box for shafts, but there's definitely some interesting things happening. We really love the KBS brand. The UST shafts, the new recoil shafts are really great. Yeah.
So you have a lot of things in your wheelhouse, that's for sure. So you obviously talked about doing it for, beginning golfers all the way up to, tour professionals. Do you have a certain demographic that you're trying to hit? do you have kids clubs, clubs for women? Like, kind of, is there a certain demographic that you are focused on, or is it just kind of whoever needs clubs and wants to get fit for clubs, Alpha Golf has a solution for them?
So we're definitely not for everyone. I mean, we haven't done junior clubs or kids clubs, although I have 2 boys, 5 and 7, and they've been hankering for some clubs now. So maybe that's in the future. But we've just been focusing on people who want to get better, who want to improve their game and enjoy it more. So that could be, you know, anywhere from any level and any age and any gender, really.
Shafts, you have a lot of different companies you work with. Any companies that you don't work with, and if so, any reason why you don't work with that particular company?
That is a good question. I don't know. I mean, there's some older brands of shafts that I don't think we carry anymore. I don't think we have AccuFlex shafts.
You can just say a name and I'd be like, okay. I don't know a lot of shaft. KBS is like the big one, right? I mean, there's obviously a lot of companies out there, but
yeah.
So obviously you have a lot of different products, a lot of shafts, a lot of grips, a lot of different club heads. I mean, my gosh, your club head line is, I mean, even the 2 different lines of club heads, there's a lot of things to know. So those 14 people that are on staff, any new hires, what's the new hire process look like? I mean, do they need to know everything top to bottom, or do they have certain niches that they fit into? Kind of what's the new hire training look like for Alpha Golf?
You know, we usually don't hire people that have any experience in golf. That's not always the case, but when we look for someone, we want to look for someone who can absorb a lot of information quickly. We have maybe, I don't know, I think maybe around 6,000 SKUs in our warehouse. So in our stock, we actually have that many products, and it takes someone who's really sharp and quick to kind of pick it up. We call ourselves actually a lot of times not just an equipment company, but a service company. Because we're in the business of servicing our club fitters, you know, partnering with them in their business, making them successful. And so whoever, you know, we hire and wherever they go, whether it be on the sales team or the customer service or in the warehouse picking and packing, they're responsible for how we interact with our customers, our club fitters. And so we want someone who's really just, you know, not just knowledgeable on how to pick up products and understand products quickly, but someone who is enjoyable to work with, someone who loves talking to our customers, solving problems for them, making sure that, you know, they get their packages on time, and making sure they understand all the new specs, or, you know, just helping them with any questions. We try to be really accessible. We have, you know, chat and Facebook and text, email. We use, you know, a couple platforms for customer service, but really everyone in the company is responsible for making our customers happy.
So the name Alpha Golf, like, it started a long time ago, but where did the name itself come from? Like, I mean, it's pretty, I don't want to say generic because that's not the right word, but it fits the brand, quite frankly. So where did the name Alpha Golf come from?
That's a good question. I'll have to ask my dad when I see him later tomorrow. No, I think he actually he loves simple names, and he actually cared more about like the logo and the look of the clubs more than the name, I think. You know, a lot of people associate us with like alpha male and, you know, kind of like the top brand, but I think we just love the simplicity of the name, and we felt like it matched sort of the theme of how we were designing clubs.
That's awesome. So I didn't tell you before we went live, this was going to fly by. I know you have a plane to catch, so I got a couple more questions before we jump into the back nine. And the next one comes from Eat Sleep Golf. So they said that it seems like club fitting building is a major part of the business, which obviously it is. Props to Doc Griffin. Can you tell us a little bit about what it takes to become a club fitter for you? Like, I mean, if John Doe down the street says, hey, I want to fit clubs for you, is it that easy, or do you have a process that you follow to get a club fitter on board, or kind of how do you work with, as Alpha Golf, with the club fitters?
That's a great question. We get inquiries like every day on how to become a club fitter or alpha dealer of ours. So we put them through kind of a rigorous process. So we have an online form. If you go to alphagolfclubs.com and click on open, or I think it's like open a club fitter account or something, or open a dealer account. So it step by step goes through a whole bunch of questions and different forms. So we basically want to see that you have the right training and the right background to fit a player properly. It's not just about the equipment. You know, we always say it's about both the body, the equipment, and the fitting. And so if they don't have the proper training, either from, there's, you know, a bunch of classes and stuff that you can take from different organizations, or if they're just looking to build clubs and glue stuff together, you know, that's not our business. Someone like Doc, he's definitely accredited, to I think the highest degree that I've seen, because not only does he have all those courses and training behind him, but he has so much experience. And so that's another thing that we love to look for as well. If you've had a lot of experience club fitting, you've seen a lot of players, you've worked in both the fitting and the teaching process, then that definitely gives you a leg up.
So let's say that I'm brand new to Alpha Golf and I'm on the site and I'm like, ooh, I want to buy that, and I have to go through a club fitter. Can Alpha Golf put me with a club fitter that they recommend and work with in my area, or do I have to go find my own club fitter that works with Alpha Golf?
Yeah, absolutely the former. So we get questions like that all the time. We try to hook up people with club fitters in their area, and if for some reason they can't find somebody, then we'll find somebody else who can work with them.
Awesome. Anybody in Naples, Florida that you know off the top of your head? We have a club fitter that works right at Tiburon Golf Club, Tour Fit Golf Labs, and they've got about 4,000 shafts in their little room, and their room is attached to my office, so that's how I know, and I may or may not hit balls in there from time to time. So
nice. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
It's them if it's anybody in Naples.
You're already covered with Doc, but I'll send some your way if I find you.
Doc, I'm good with Doc. Don't worry about anybody else. We're good. Doc will be my referral going forward as I spam. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been awesome to learn more about this company, especially since I'm putting, driver woods, hybrid irons, wedges in my bag in the next couple of months. So excited to get Doc down here, and obviously he comes with a lot of high regard from Alpha Golf. Before I let you go, we have this segment called the Back Nine. It's just 9 fun random golf questions. You ready?
Okay.
What clubs are in your bag? And yes, that is a trick question.
Yes. Okay. So I play the C1 Pros, which are one of our first Forge irons. Let's see, the RX Low Pro Fairwaywood, and then a Silver Diamond. This is actually a discontinued one. I think it's the GX1 driver, but I actually don't hit the driver very well, so I usually play irons.
Hey, Doc, if you're watching, she needs a club fitter. What golf ball are you currently playing?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. You can see one more.
What golf ball are you playing?
The V1 Pro.
What is your favorite golf accessory that Alpha Golf sells? Like, you got a bunch of them. What's your favorite?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard one. So we just started carrying this. It's a hand solution called Dry Hands. So when you hand
so random but awesome.
I know, I don't know why it's called Dry Hands. Like, it seems like it would help you if you have dry hands, but what it does is it makes your hands like not sweaty and sticky. So it's not like lotion. It's like a solution, like kind of like a clear solution. You just put a little nervous at the tee box. It really helps to like kind of make them really like dry, and you can just grip your club better.
That's fantastic. That's funny that that's your favorite accessory. Who is your favorite PGA Tour player?
Oh gosh.
Feel free to say Tiger. If you want. You don't have to, but
he was my favorite for a long time, I must say. I grew up in that age,
okay, that'll do. Question answered. Was for a long time. All right, let's go back to Twitter real quick. So you and Alpha Golf are not on Twitter. Should I expect you to join Twitter and create an account pretty soon? If so, I want full responsibility for that.
Okay, so it's really about our dealers. Like, we find that they're really present on Facebook, and they're really happy with that medium. So we never got on Twitter, but I can understand why it would be important to get on the channel.
I've been tweeting about you all day and all night. My goodness, you have no idea what I'm saying about you guys.
You say anything.
So you live in Northern California. What is your favorite local craft brewery? You have a bunch of them up there. There's a lot of craft breweries around the country, but what's your favorite local one?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been to Europe. There's a couple in Berkeley. I don't remember the names of them. I mean, they're very, kind of, they've got that hipster vibe. I don't know. And I actually can't remember the names of them. I'm like, oh, really?
That's all right. Just drink local. If you're drinking beer, drink local. Now, you mentioned it earlier. It's going to have a link in the description below, but where can people learn more about Alpha Golf besides your new up-and-coming Twitter account that you're going to create? Wink, wink. Where can people learn more about the clubs and the product?
At our website, alphagolfclubs.com.
Awesome. Pretty simple right there. Now, we're getting along here. We're almost done, but you have 2 more questions. And the most important question that you may answer the rest of the evening is, do you think Tiger breaks Jack's record? Why or why not? And be careful how you answer this.
So I was prepared. I knew this question was coming. I was told that I would be gifted with something really nice if I said.
Did we lose you at the most important question?
I don't think he will, unfortunately. I don't think he will. I think he's.
That's the wrong answer.
Yeah.
That's the wrong. It's all right. That's all right. What's funny is that it like paused and you cut out for a second, and then I heard like it came back right when you said, "Don't think he will," and then I was like sad. And your final question of your hashtag Wednesday match play: what's next for Alpha Golf? I mean, it sounds like you got a pretty good product, and I mean, an awesome marketing within you and the efforts, and the brand is incredible. But what's next for the company?
So it's been a while since we've come out with new equipment, and I told you the reason why we don't usually come out with equipment every season. But a lot of our club fitters have been asking for more interchangeability, and so we have actually a whole line of drivers, fairway woods, irons, hybrids. It's called the Alpha VX line. It's been sent off for testing, so Doc actually might be getting a sample for you soon too. But that's coming up next, and we're really excited about it.
Maybe I'll wait until he gets that in his hands before it comes down and fits me. So maybe I'm doing this on purpose, Doc. I'm sorry. We might have to wait a couple more months. I don't know. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was awesome to learn more about the company straight from the person responsible for the marketing of that company. This link is going to be shared to Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and the golf community. It will also be on iTunes and Google Play within the next couple of days as a podcast. So, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. And as always on the hashtag Wednesday Match Plays, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.